All right, here we go again. Buckle up. Rough roads ahead. So again, uh, the people that do this, the devils, demons, antichrist, witches, and sorcerers, say they're stalking their victim, and their victim might be have to go to church today. What they'll do is they'll create something. They'll will that church away, and then what that does is that could create a health issue where you can't go to church. Create a car accident, right? Could create a health issue in someone else in your family. Could create an appointment that you schedule without having the foresight that it's going to interfere with church. Right? And how would they do that? This is how they did it. I scheduled it, and I have an appointment this afternoon, and I had to change it. And when I changed it, I forgot that I had church. But I have to go to that appointment. Right. But what they're doing now, and it was all part of that, is trying to now send me to church and cancel the appointment because they'd rather me go to church than have the appointment. So this is an ongoing, never-ending process. They'll go to hell for it. There's no way out for it. Correct. They're just constantly willing and cursing and willing and cursing for decades in my life. Right. God. And they walk around telling you they're protecting all of you. That should increase their intrusion. I'm sorry. So I was looking at a case this morning where this guy was in a church where he worked out a deal. I don't understand how sex with the 14-year-old is somehow betrothal, right? Because they never married. Correct. Correct. So, but the church and the parents, and he was a youth group pastor in his later 20s, had worked out a deal where he essentially would have sex with the child. Now, this is the time period that they were ruining my church. They were psyoping me in the church. They're trying to sexualize me in the church. Meanwhile, like I told you, that's what was going on. And that's what people were afraid of. That information would make it out and they would be charged. So they did whatever these people said. Thanks, Larry. So their job is to turn me into a pedophile by first claiming I'm a pedophile. So what is that? If I tell a bunch of people somebody's a pedophile, they're going to hate that person. But what else are they going to do? They're going to try to get them caught as a pedophile. They actually will people to be pedophiles. They actually psychologically operate and physically block the person's life into being a pedophile. Now, it's not every pedophile, obviously. But the majority of pedophiles are out there laughing, living great lives. Well, they're part of that machine trying to force people into pedophilia for some criminal boss like Johnny Hughes, whoever the FBI criminals were over there. What I'm being told was happened is there was a couple of arrests for corruption in Baltimore. They told what they're saying inside is there should have been like 90 arrests for corruption, but they only arrested a couple people to send the message that hey, knock it off and get away from it. Right. Sorry. So the majority of people that have done that are actually, or not the majority, the people that have done that have actually been pedophiles are in that thing, in the pedophile hunter thing. Right. Because that's how it works. You work that bullshit. We either force somebody to it or just say they're it. Right? If you ruin somebody's life by just stalking them all for like 30 years and saying they're a pedophile and they rape their kids or something like that. And that's how they started this, or part of it at least. Right. Then they say they won. This is their mind. They won. They won what? The game of life? You're all going to hell. We saved everyone. See, then they go back into they're loopy. And then they go back into that. But we're saving everyone. Didn't you just hear what I said? Thanks, Larry. It's a mafia. Child sex crime investigation is a mafia that regulates who gets arrested, who gets like even the implication put on them. Right. That's why all of a lot of people in government were Epstein's people because they were controllable. Right. Thanks, Larry. So it is what it is. Right. I don't want this is to fear me of walking and being healthy. Now, when they chose Johnny Hughes, they chose corruption. Right. They're non-corrupt people were never had a chance. Correct. Heal that there. Well, if you give them the opportunity to stalk their victim, they'll be able to they'll wire to them, and they'll have like 10 or 20 people with big positions, directly wired to them. Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Larry. No, they that's their mind from one thing to the next. Just curse, will, and whatever they could deem as the worst case scenario. Yeah, the tax cut plan's kind of crazy. Right. I don't know if I don't think it's doable. Well, because there's people saying, okay, so somebody pays zero taxes up to 200,000. What if I make 205,000? Am I going to pay tax? Do I have 200,000 worth of tax free? So you obviously, I think 200,000 is a little bit high anyway. Right. Individual should be something like 80,000. Right. Agreed. Family maybe 120,000. Now 200,000 is way too much. Right. A ton of people. Actually, I think they're talking about changing the deductions. Or something Something's got my allergy kicking up. My eyes are watering. Got mucus everywhere. Get out and get my exercise in the morning. Correct. So what this causes them to get angry, and then they try to block my walks. They're doing their shit again. Why are we doing this? Because you're devils, demons, antichrist, witches, and sorcerers. And many of you have committed sex crimes. So you're for that system that doesn't arrest sex criminals. It says who will be either harassed or arrested for sex crime. I mean, of course, some committed sex crimes, right, that are arrested. 100%. Then they start to play this game. Well, if it wasn't for us, he would have committed the crime. See, we stopped him from it. I mean, it's bullshit from one end to the other. Possibly. So the reality is, the churches that were involved in it may have actually committed a sex crime against somebody that I was trying to figure out what the hell was going on in her life. Right. Or somebody in the church. So, here I'm thinking they're good people, but essentially the fundamental Baptist churches in Pennsylvania there had a lot of hidden history problems. Correct. Oh my God. So I was getting too close to something. Guaranteed. And they're sexualizing. If a person goes to church and you're trying to bait them to get them turned on to you for some cop payment or whatever it is, you're sexualizing that person. The key is that they try to turn every situation into a sexual situation. Now they don't allow their victim to have sex, because that's the key, is to work them up sexually and then deny them sex. Right. So you go to church and you got women trying to turn you on. And they tried, well, don't you think maybe she was just interested? That's what they tried in Oklahoma with one of their people. Convinced me that these women were only interested. Thanks, Larry. Thank you, Larry. Anybody that's undergone something like that is going to receive a pass from God. I'm just going to tell you that now. Anybody that's done it is going to go to hell. It's not like real, is what I'm trying to say. Correct. They're the creation of that person, and the person that they're doing it to isn't even like, all it takes is one of their people to go get that MFer, and that's all it is. Like I said, you can cut somebody off in traffic, you can say something that the person takes offense to, and then your whole life is ruined. I mean, Rick Henry's a piece of shit, man, and he decided whether people live and die. Karen Shelton's a piece of shit. And she decided who lives and dies. Johnny Hughes is a piece of shit. And he decided who lives and dies. 100%. I'm alive by the grace of God, all of you. That's what frustrates them, that I'm still alive. Because I'm a loose end? No. If they worried about me a loose end, they would have stayed away. Again, they'd lie to everyone, including themselves. No, it's not a loose end. Stay away from me, never said anything. No, that's not quite it either. They were there, and I didn't say anything. Right. That's a call over here. I got to heal it. Again, they're in the middle of my medications that I need to take. There's no doubt. Right. They blind your mind from taking your medication. So they see you're buying medication, they will it away, curse it away. You're trying to get a repeat of me being sick, right? Because they notice that I'm starting to walk. They'll be destroyed. Believe me, they'll be destroyed in hell if it doesn't happen here. Well, Trump's trying to increase his favorability with a tax cut, but none of it makes sense. And he said the beauty of the tariffs is they'll pay the they'll pay for the tax of it. It's foreign nations are not going to absorb the tariff cost, right? Unless you worked out some deal, right? So at best, you'll probably break even, right? But the problem with the tariffs are that, like, in the first go around, they shifted it to the farmers, and I'm not against helping the farmers. Correct. Thank you, Larry. Well, you're gonna have to take the tariffs and make it part of the revenue system. Like, you can't shift it, right? So you see, it won't pay the budget unless you assign it to the budget. So it doesn't make any sense. Again, what I'm trying to say is cut costs where you can. I don't think you need to put everybody into the border, or the border works, but I mean the deportations. Right. Yeah, I'm not sure about walking during the morning here. Pretty crazy here. I don't know what the allergen is. I'm going to try to research it, see if something new crept up. Thanks, Larry. Yeah, I've never had allergies like this in my life. Yeah. Step away, all of you. If I had a house, it'd be much better because I could walk around the inside of the house and get some exercise and stuff. Of course, they blocked that. Thanks, Larry. Yeah, I definitely should have left that first year, after that first year. I was actually thinking about it before I moved in. I just couldn't figure out. I couldn't get there. They were probably most likely willing it down. If I'd have known that they were willing me down like that and it was that effective, I would have actually probably been able to push through it and get to. I was going to Colorado Springs, which has some allergies, but the allergy season's a lot shorter. Right here, it starts in February. So I'm trying to find what could be this trigger. I see it increased, I guess. Oh, actually, no, it's saying it's lower. I don't believe that. It doesn't look like anything, really. Go somewhere else and look. Verify it. Okay, yeah, there it is. Okay. Yeah, if you go to or you go to pollen.com, it doesn't say anything about cedar and juniper. Right. That's probably what it is. Hmm. Trying to figure out. There's another one here that I'm looking for. Uh, well, some are severe and some aren't. Some pollens are severe. Okay, so the ash pollen is moderately severe, and combined with um, cedar and juniper, that would be right. The two top ones are ash and cedar and juniper, according to the one app I'm looking at. You look at the other app; it doesn't even mention those. So pollen.com is like a loser. It doesn't tell you anything, right? I mean, it does say that it's like mild, or was it? It's high, not very high. So it's still high, but it's not as high as it's been. So it's actually shows that it's down in this region, but it doesn't make sense. Well, I'm not sure where I got to go. I mean, I might actually have to just go due north somewhere. I was going to try to do that years ago, and I never got to it. It's not the greatest thing to be in that kind of cold weather, but right. I got to get some place where there's a lot less allergens, or actually at least shorter allergy seasons. Because when it starts in February, by the time you get to like full, April, it's just insane, right? So, yeah, all that rain we had, and then now the sun's out, so it's all pollinating. All right, I got to get ready soon. It's my appointment. I don't know, it's just everything. My eyes are what sinuses. So I might actually have to change my sheets and everything also. So again, not taking the Mucinex and everything does contribute also. That's them willing it down and willing sickness up. I mean, this is what's going on. That's who they are. Devils. So again, a massage appointment is a medical appointment for me. I have to get them. So, oh, you know what could be part of it? They did will my elderberry away because it's part of a immune response. Right. So that could be it. That could be part of it. I may have been able to fix it because I was taking elderberry. So that's what that does. It regulates the immune response. That's. I want to see if they have that officially anywhere. Just elderberry or elderberry. What's it? Elderberry. Does it actually? Do they see it as something helping with allergies? Right. Because allergies are just a whack immune response. Right. I don't know. I come up with stuff medically that'll probably never appear on this planet because it just can't get anywhere. Right. Again, I got a treadmill in here, so I might do is clean up the apartment real well, set up the treadmill. It's kind of leaning against the wall, and just have to go with that. Be fine with me if it works. 100%. All right, so let's see this here. Does elderberry work for allergies? Elderberry is traditionally used for a remedy for allergies. Oh, shit. So maybe that's what was fixing it. All right, so let me get back to that. Let me find my elderberry here. When you're an elderberry, you need to take elderberry. It's funny, in the Mormon church, you be a young guy and be an elder, So you look at it like, what? That's an elder? Because, it's not traditionally, right? It's not traditional use of the term, right? Thank you, Larry. So it is what they do all day. They will you sick, and then stuff like that falls by the wayside. So, right. So right now they're willing me to rage. I'll destroy that, destroy them. Last night I was like ironing my stuff for church, and and I was like, okay, it's gonna work. And as soon as I got it all ready, something goes, well, you got a massage tomorrow. Right? No, I have to have it. No, they will. They'll pay for it. I don't pay for that. They do. 100%. We were ready to go all day, man. Why do you think I couldn't get to a church? Because of them. That was it. It wasn't just psyop. It was also, they paid them other people money in the church to push me out. So again, it's a combined effort. Right. I was sick, man. We're all sick. So that may have been it. Right. Try that again. Y'all didn't know that, right? Because I was just for like COVID and stuff, and flu. It actually, right. So allergies is also a run amok immune response. So if you take elderberry, it could cause the immunity to work for you, to get repaired. They want to say that they screwed up. They ain't screwed up. They know what they're doing. They're devils. They turned the world over to devils, demons, antichrist, witches, sorcerers, because they wouldn't charge you for some sort of crime that they supposedly knew about. So hopefully get my blood pressure down and everything. I had an appointment early. What happened is I rescheduled it early, and then I remembered that appointment was only going to be an hour. It couldn't be an hour and a half, and I need an hour and a half. So I rescheduled it. But an hour is just not worth it. By the time you get your clothes off and put your clothes back on, it's like a 45-minute appointment or something. Right? They get like one area if you just tell them to do one small area. So, again, I really need 2-hour massages, but I can't afford it. Right. So again, just to help explain it. So they will me not to have money. For my money, not again. You could be poor and have a well life, or you could be rich and have a bad life. If the money doesn't work for you, right? So they will me to spend my money. So I make massage appointments, and they get mad and they will the massage appointment away because they don't want me to get massage. What they want me to do is go to a cam girl or go to a prostitute or a massage parlor. That almost happened the other day. Like, wait a minute, that's one of those Asian ones that I don't go to. Right. So I know it's their mind because God wouldn't send me there. Right. Thanks, Larry. Well, like the guy's house we went to the other day. So he has this house that's near the Olathe Latter Day Saints church, but it's like booked. Right. There's no room for everyone, so some of us have to go up and to Lenexa, and it's got to be a bummer. He lives like within a stone's throw of the Olathe Latter Day Saints church. But I think that's the one where they do the baptisms and everything. So it's still used for certain things. Right. I thought it was funny because the house is, I think, because I looked it up. I was like, well, what's this house look like? that I'm going to, because you can look, you can go to the realtor pages. There isn't, I don't think there was any interior photos of it, but some houses like down the street, there are interior photos and stuff. So I went there and I was like, it was painted in that photo like a off-white cream, like a kind of a almost a beige. And so I get there last night, or not last night, the night before, and it was white. Yeah, he painted the LES color. It does look better, white with black trim. Yeah, my head's starting to drain now. I already did one rinse with the sinus gator. So again, can you imagine being in a government and that with devils, demons, antichrist, witches, and sorcerers, and they use willing things and cursing the other person to get ahead? Can you imagine that? They get mad at you because you get credit for working hard, but they don't want to work. So in essence, they will you to be their slave. That's what happened, right? And you don't get anything for it because they willed you not to get anything for it, and then they get mad at you and get angry and seethe at you for decades on end. They're disgusting. Well, I have to tell people who's going to hell. I mean, we can't let the fraud stand. Right? Well, the Trump people need to go back to the drawing board. The whole plan they have is not going to get passed the way it is. Right? Now, if you say no tax on Social Security, that makes sense. I've been saying that for years. It doesn't make any sense. Right? Give somebody a benefit, then you tax it. Right? Breathe there. And I mean, I would love no tax at all, but it it's probably not feasible. Right? As far as up to 200,000 or whatever. 200,000 is way too high, no doubt. Right? Which is possibly a negotiation technique. Well, okay, we'll make it up to 80,000. Right? Yeah, some of it's good, but you can't not tax up to 200,000, and then the tariffs are like uncontrollable. Well, because if you have to buy something, you have to pay it. Right? So, but you could be a poor person and have to pay it. So what they're doing is they're shifting a controllable tax that says if you don't make that much money, we won't tax you that much, to something that says, well, if you buy something, and again, that'll harm the economy. Right? Because if you tax somebody whether they spend the money or not, right, then there's no reason not to buy something. But if there's tariffs on there, they'll say, well, that's too expensive. Right? So I said, I think incentives to buy American goods is better. Right? Tax incentives and like big ticket items. And that's what we should focus on anyway. Right? Yeah, I fell asleep before I took a shower last night. I should have took. That probably affected it. I did eat a lot of dairy last night, so maybe could be it. I guess. Actually, before I ate the dairy, it was increasing. I had boogers in the eyes and everything. That's pretty bad right now. Thanks, sorry. So one of their things is they project that they don't have they had no reason to do this to me, but that doesn't mean anything. I mean, they have no reason. They're just reasonless. Right? They just, there's nothing in their life that's based upon reasoning. They're insane. Devils are insane, man. That's why the government's so crazy because it's so heavy on devils. Thanks, sir. Well, I didn't mind going to the one woman that's it's a really close by. Understand? It's right now, but we said, yeah. So that's what it is. Right. Yeah, it's probably elderberry. I probably, it's probably been a week or two since I was regularly dosing. So, right. Trying to stop me from going for massage. I can see that. Yeah, I had an intention to stay on elderberry because I used to stay on it regularly. Then there are other things they project. Why are we here? What have you done? Oh, you destroyed my health off you. Go pay in hell for it. Then they brag at how healthy they are. You know, they're pickish people. They just can't stop themselves from doing all that type of stuff. It most likely came from hell, and their father was the devil. What happens is people on the planet can hear from them spiritually, right, and see from them. So they're part of that demonism, whether they're church members or some other type of thing. Right. And because they empower that thing and give away their power to it for evil power, right, those beings are born on the planet. So the people I'm speaking about are devils from hell, and they're born up on this planet. That's why they change everything, the church, law enforcement, into evil things. Yeah, Epstein was a setup. Right. Like, he really wasn't a good financier. They just put him in. Right. They made sure he looked good. Right. So, like, they set people up so that they would be around Epstein. They still do the same thing. Oh yeah, in the '90s, I would go to church and they'd have women trying to turn me on. Not lightly either. Right. They're poor people. They want money, you know. They have committed crimes. Right. Like a lot of those people are around youth groups. From what we can tell, there was a lot of crime there. I mean, of course, they're going to rescue some children. They can't do what they're doing if they don't rescue some children. Right. But their purpose is corruption. Or their purpose is corruption. So again, they're not interested in stopping it completely, because then you wouldn't give them that kind of intrusion, that kind of way. So they have a mechanism by which they increase sex crimes. And of course, if they want to take a specific victim out, then they target that specific victim. It's the same thing as the deputy, what was his name? Deputy Ritchie and the CIA officer and the LSD. Same mentality. Ha 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 ha. 100%. Oh, I mean, come on. We're freaking 30 something years. Come on. Come on. It's gang warfare. So if they ever bust anybody for taking money from Russia, it's just, it's bullshit. I mean, yeah, they do, but, there's another 50 that are actually investigating him. Right. It's like if I go to a church, oh, he's getting ready to groom and offend. This is bullshit they're into. Oh, going to church is an indicator of wanting to groom and offend. Yet the other person that's part of their criminal enterprise that does offend, oh, that's a great Christian. He's always in church. That's their expert. And then that becomes their expert. Because they got the hook in it or in her. They offend. They know that that the cops know they offended. And if they do what the cops say, then they get somewhere. Right. And they stay out of prison. Correct. Now, don't infer like I offended and that's how I stay out of prison. Right. Always do the role reversal, every last one of them. Well, like that guy, there's probably cops in on it. That church, did the bidding of the deep state, and can have sex with the kids in their church. That's why it takes this long for something to happen. Right. There's no doubt they psyoped. What's her name? Virginia Gilfrey or whatever. She may not have known. Right. She was being psyoped. Oh, the cops are part of it, man. They're good corrupt, man. They don't give a shit, man. It's not about law enforcement. It's about playing their game out. Wasn't so, I wouldn't say it. In fact, if it was somewhat controlled, I probably wouldn't say it. Right. But it's a free for all, believe me. They're obviously rearing their demonic head, so I got to keep their heads down. Right. Keep them off balance. Put some monkey wrench in their operation. No, it's funny. Somebody pointed out, like I said, the guy's wife was the woman that I guess teaches. She's uh, a leader, like a young girl youth leader. Guy's plain English. They have a term for it. Right. Away from you. But now what I was pointing out online, like, I don't know if I will get to it, but I don't want to offend people. Right. But the president of the church, LES, was speaking about the clothes they wear. Right. And I brought up the fact that a lot of people might look at their 14 or 16-year-old daughter and think it doesn't apply. Because who would be desiring them? Right. Right. Well, it's just not a good look, right? To have that much skin exposed in church, especially. Right. Again, the girl doesn't understand what's happening either. Right, Larry. She's just wearing what she feels is fashionable. Correct. Reality, and again, the president. So they cursed me, and that caused me not to take a shower before I went to bed last night, and that caused probably an eruption of allergic reaction. Right. Probably both cursed me from church and from the massage. Thanks, Larry. That's what they do all day. That's what their task forces are actually out there doing. If they curse you enough and will it enough, you might become a sex offender. It's a crapshoot, playing their game out. Actually, churches are danger zones because they have these people that will work for these dirty cops and dirty PIs. So you go in there and they focus on you all day, right? While diminishing your life, your normal life. Oh, they'll pay in hell, man. They're devils, demons, antichrist, witches, and sorcerers, plain as day. Right? Anybody that's going to will up sex crime is a devil. There's no doubt. Will down church and will up sex crime. That's what they do. Even willing up sex crime will down church and will down a church to sex crime. Right. They're busy today, with their victims' church day. So make sure they don't get to church. And if they get to church, will up sex in the church. Not a single one of them is a stable mind. Not a single one of them. Well, stay peaceful. Praise God in all that you do.